First up, let's also talk about some earnings now because we're in the middle of the season. Filatex India reported Q4 numbers with a revenue decline of 2% sequentially. The margin, however, has come in a little bit high, so they've managed to expand that. It's at 6% for this quarter, and the company did see a higher profit after tax, but this was aided by other income that came through in this quarter. So to discuss more on the numbers, we're joined by Madhu Sudhan Bhageria, the chairman and MD of Filatex India. Mr. Bhageria, thank you for joining us. This is Pavitra. First up, if you can just take us through what has led to this quarter-on-quarter slowing that we've seen. I know you've mentioned that China imports came in huge bulk. Is that the reason that we saw this? Has there been some sort of a price war? Did you have to cut prices? Can you give us a little bit more color on that?
Yeah, good morning. Yes, the main reason is that we had to cut prices to beat the Chinese imports. The Chinese imports are coming in a big way. And after the Chinese New Year's, they have risen quite a bit. And
so how much did you have to cut prices by?
We had to cut prices by almost 2%. But still we could do better than the third quarter because of volumes and demand being more robust in India.
Mr. Bhageria, in our last conversation, you seemed to suggest that the dumping from China, Chinese imports are actually coming down, especially since China reopened. But now you're saying that the intensity of dumping by Chinese companies is actually still very, severe. It's not eased.
We were expecting it will come down. As China opens, their internal demand will come up, but that's not happened. So the dumping is still continuing. So even in the first quarter, dumping is happening, although it's slightly lower, but it's still happening. And we are requesting the government to put some safeguard duties to help us because they are also selling at a loss. It's not that they are making profit and selling.
Will you look at another price cut?
No, I don't think so. There is a more price cut needed. We should be able to work on similar margins in the first quarter. And more, maybe from second quarter, it should improve because some government is promising they'll take some measures.
Okay, that's interesting, Mr. Bhageria. Given what you're saying, that if this is actual dumping, then maybe some counter duty measures can be taken. Do you have any sense from the government? I mean, from your industry channels, by when can you expect some sort of protective duty measures? And specifically on which product categories are you seeking these measures?
So we are seeking these measures for POI and FDY, which is being imported in a big way. I think government has implemented BIS standards for these products. So that will come into effect as of now from 3rd of July. So maybe that will help us and the imports would go down once that becomes effective from 3rd of July. That could be one way of reducing it. And also safeguard duty also we are working with the government.
Okay, so 3rd of July, at least some steps, you're saying these BIS measures, at least they will come into play. And if you get the safeguard duty over and above that, then that will obviously make the situation even better. So given that this is a dynamically changing situation, Mr. Bhageria, give us a sense on volumes. Q4, of course, you saw a dip in volumes year-on-year, quarter-on-quarter. First quarter, second quarter, at best, will volumes remain flat, or should your stakeholders be prepared for another subdued quarter in terms of volumes? X of this dumping issue, is there any visibility on demand here?
The demand is good. Our volumes in the fourth quarter is similar to the third quarter. The dip is because of the raw material prices a little bit going down, so our pricing went down. But the volumes is similar. And same we expect in this first quarter also. The volumes will remain healthy. But since the now crude prices have come down, so raw material prices will come down, so top line can come down.
Okay, so that is on the top line and the sales volumes. What do you think about margins going forward? Because like you said, you've affected a 2% price cut that you've seen. Earlier, you told us that you could reach double-digit margins in FY24. Do you think that's still possible? I mean, considering you're at 6% right now?
I think year as a whole, should be very close to double digit, if not double digit. But first quarter, I don't see too much of improvement. We should do something similar to the last quarter.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit more? Will volumes be in Q1 FY24, April to June, be similar to what we've seen in the Jan to March period? which means the volume growth will be zero quarter on quarter. Is that the correct way to look at it?
Yeah, the volume growth would be virtually not there.
No volume growth. And when do you think volumes will start picking up? If there is no action from the government, will the volume growth be negligible for the full year?
See, we are already operating at 95% utilization. So the volume growth can only come if we add more capacity.
Got it.
So that is why the volume growth is not there. And we are adding very small capacity, which would be operational maybe in July end. So that is not much, but that could be around 3 to 4%. And then one more volume growth we are taking, that will come by the financial year end. So that will be around 5 to 6%. So from next year, we could have 8% volume growth. But this year, I don't see very significant improvement in the volume. Only the margins from second quarter should improve once this Chinese problem is taken care of. And also from second quarter, normally the demand for fabrics and garment is good. So the demand for yarn is very good in the country.
Okay. All right, Mr. Bhageria, I will leave it on that note for today. Thank you very much. And we will touch base with you and see how the situation changes, specifically with regards to, of course, the safeguard duty measures that you are seeking. That's Filatex India. Stock is reacting to what has been a subdued quarter. Let's